Good morning, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to another edition of the Disney Morning Show, starring Kyle Burbank, our managing editor. How you doing,
Hello.
Kyle? And
I'm,
featuring
I'm good. I'm busy. We got a
Doobie
lot to get
Mosley.
to today.
Doobie Mosley, our co-founder. Yeah, we got a lot to get to today. We're still gonna do our regular start to the show, give people a chance to get on because there is some exciting breaking news. So let's go with the stock price. As we bring up the stock price, Kyle, why don't you let people know why it might be different today?
Yeah. So yesterday, after the bell, Disney announced declared a cash dividend, which means that if you own a share of stock, you get money just for having it. So, is he waving? Um, so anyway, this is $1. It's going to be $1 over the course of the next fiscal year. So this is actually divided into two payments of 50 cents. The first one will be on January 16th, and the second will be on July 23rd. And if you're wondering, that's a 33% increase over last fiscal year when there was a total of 75 cents in dividends. So yeah, if you're a Disney shareholder over the course of the next 7 months or so, 8 months, you'll be getting $1
Look for those checks.
for each share.
For each share. If you own two, you'll get $2. So the stock price at this time yesterday was 16.08. Now it's 16.25. Apparently not having a huge impact, down a little bit on the day. But still, good news. I got money coming to me for I think I got like 3.5 shares of stock. So, cha-ching. All right, Kyle, let's get to the breaking news.
Not weather.
Let's get to the weather.
Good morning and welcome to another LP Disney weather report. Standing there alone, the ship is waiting. All systems are go. Are you sure? Control is not convinced, but the computer has the evidence. No need to abort. The countdown starts. Watching in a trance, the crew is certain. Nothing left to chance. All is working. Trying to relax up in the capsule. Send me up a drink, jokes Major Tom. The count goes on. 4, 3, 2, 1. Earth below us, drifting, falling. Floating weightless, calling home. Let's get to the weather. After some fog this morning, Anaheim will be sunny today and stop just short of 70 degrees. Walt Disney World is slightly warmer today, reaching a high of 73 with lots of sunshine. Still, it will make it down to the 50s before midnight. Castaway Cay is 72 today and will stay that way until after dark. Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point is hanging tight at 75 degrees. Disneyland Paris will see showers this evening along with breezy conditions. This will make the relatively warm 52-degree weather feel more like 47. Tokyo will just barely break 60 tomorrow, but it will be sunny throughout the morning and afternoon. Shanghai will make it to 56 degrees tomorrow with mostly cloudy to overcast skies. Finally, Hong Kong will repeat today tomorrow as it will be sunny with a high of 72. And that will do it for another Disney weather update. Have a great day and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Go
So
for it,
we have a
Kyle.
ton of breaking news. Disneyland, like they did last year, just announced all of the things that are happening, all of their events for 2025, basically their calendar. And as part of that, they've announced the first details about their 70th anniversary celebration. It'll kick off on May 16th. And the theme is Celebrate Happy. There's a few returning offerings for this. Better Together, the parade that we kind of knew was coming back, is officially coming back to DCA. Paint the Night will be coming back to Disneyland, and Wondrous Journeys, the fireworks show, or the sometimes fireworks show, sometimes just projection show, will be coming back to Disneyland. And as part of this, they'll have a New World of Color, and that'll be, there you go. Forget the name of it. Celebrate. No, it's called
World
Happiness,
of Color
right?
Happiness. World of
Yes,
Color Happiness.
it'll be hosted by the Emotions of Inside Out, but obviously feature a bunch of different other properties as well. And another piece of news on May 16th, the new Walt audio animatronic show will debut. That is Walt: A Magical Life. So to start, it'll play just that at the Opera House, but eventually it will switch off with, or it'll. I don't know exactly how it works, but this will play along with with Lincoln. So Lincoln's not going away. This is just temporarily taking over the whole thing, and then it'll cycle. On top of that, let me see. We got a whole list here.
While you look, I guess these are the 70th costumes for.
Yes, thank you.
This says happiness to me. I like those, actually, especially Minnie. Minnie looks very cute there. I like that.
So we have a piece of news that they snuck in, as they do. We knew that the red car trolley was going to be closing. Now we have a date. The last day to ride will be February 8th, which happens to be Disney California Adventure's birthday. It's not an opening day attraction, so it's not as cruel as it seems, but it's still kind of cruel.
It's cruel. It's cruel.
So to be clear, that's the last day to ride, so the closure will be the 9th or whatever, and that's to make way for the new, at least the construction of the new Avengers attractions. But they say that the last day to ride will be that, so it's a permanent closure. And then they have a bunch of returning dates for things that will be happening throughout the year. Let me go through the list real fast. I'll just tell you what's returning. Lunar New Year will be back. Anaheim Ducks Day, Celebrate Gospel, the Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival, Seasons of the Force, Disney Junior Let's Play Party, Halloween Time, Oogie Boogie Bash, Holidays at the Disneyland Resort, and then we also got the lineup of the Disneyland After Dark events, which that one might not have posted properly, and let me double check on that. Yeah.
Kyle's done a lot of work.
So you're going to have the Sweethearts Night, as they have for the past several years. You're also going to get Star Wars Night, as they have for the past several years, and Pride Night, which they've had for the past few years. But we're also getting the return of 90s Night, which they have not done since 2019 by my count.
But they did not announce a new one?
No, so no new ones. 90s Night will have a new offering, it sounds like. It is called 90s on Parade, and it'll include nods to past parades, including the Lion King celebration and the Mulan parade.
That's a great idea. I love that idea.
Wait a minute.
We're going to have to... Do you think they'll have that in the Muppets version somehow?
I don't think so, Tim. So yeah, that's the bulk of it. One thing I do want to note that's interesting to me is that Oogie Boogie Bash will have, as you'd expect, more nights than ever. 31 nights of Oogie Boogie Bash this year.
Starting next week, right?
Pretty much. August 17th will be the first one. And there's another one like the 19th and 21st or whatever. But what's notable about that is that Halloween time doesn't actually kick off until August 22nd. So Oogie Boogie Bash will take place before Halloween time.
August 17th. Halloween Oogie Boogie Bash kicks off. That is a ton. It's amazing that you were able to type all that up since 9 o'clock, get it up, and then come onto the show. That's crazy.
I know.
That's crazy. Okay, so there's the 70th again. So it's the next year, of course, is Disneyland's 70th anniversary, and while the bulk of this is announcing dates for a lot of returning stuff, it is the announcement that they are celebrating 70. Maybe a preview, not a preview, but one would presume it'll be even a bigger deal in 5 years. But 70 is still a big one. And so you know it's a celebration for an anniversary when they bring out the bunting and such and put a 70 on it. It's coming. We've got it called Happiness, which I love that name. What do you think of that tagline? Just happiness.
It's kind of funny, especially when you have all of the emotions of Inside Out being featured.
So Celebrate Happy starting in May of next year. And we are hoping to have our travel partner on in a little bit, Heather from Mouse Fan Travel. Again, if you want to go visit Disneyland next year, which you should, celebrating 70 and all this cool stuff, we highly recommend you go, you use a Disney travel partner, and you use Mouse Fan Travel, our partner, because they are really, really good at what they do. Tell them Laughing Place Sent You is also a great way to support us. And we're hoping to have Heather on later in the show to talk about this from that perspective as well, traveling there during the 70th. But we'll probably do a recap of this again a little bit later. Benji is going to be joining us later on in the show. He actually, because today's Walt's birthday, happy birthday, Walt, did an article talking about
HBD.
HBD. Yes, good. We're tight. HBD, Walt. He did an article on LP talking about should Walt have an animatronic. So he's going to come on later to talk about that. We'll recap all this stuff with him at that time as well. So stay tuned. If you missed any of this, we'll be talking about it again. But we have other morning news show to do, so we are going to do it. And it starts with an Avengers store that has soft opened in downtown Disney. It is the Avengers Reserve store. This is a cool looking store. I like this a lot. It says Downtown Disneyland at the Disneyland Resort. It opens officially tomorrow. Wide range of products, comic books, collectibles, superhero-themed apparel, role-play toys for all ages. That sounds interesting. The inventory will be refreshed regularly. You can see the cool Hulk sculpture that's there. 9-foot Hulk sculpture as he smashed through the wall. There's also a Spider-Man up there. And inside they have authentic film props, just like Planet Hollywood. And inside of Disneyland, got to look at a new sign for the shop that is coming next to the Haunted Mansion, opening this winter. You can see the name of the shop there, Madame Leota's Somewhere Beyond. And looks kind of cool. I'm looking forward to this. We were walking past it on a recent trip to Disneyland. I said, it looks like a barn. And then I was told it's supposed to look like a barn. So then it looked pretty cool.
The other sign that we tweeted, the one that's the longer one, people on Twitter have strong opinions about this for some reason.
So what is the problem they have with this?
People say it's too small. Other people just don't like other elements about it. I haven't kept track of all of the arguments.
The too small thing, I can concur. That is a tiny sign.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's laughably small.
Oh, excuse me, not a barn. I know Nikki B is a big horse person. It is a carriage house. I sit corrected.
Do you want me to keep the banner on?
No, take it off. It's in the title of the show. Okay, and then one other quick thing Kyle's going to talk about.
Yeah, so we got a new trailer for the Doctor Who Christmas special. This one's called Joy to the World. If you don't know, holiday specials are a big staple of the Doctor Who franchise. And you can watch this on Disney Plus. Listen to this time, Doobie. December 25th, that part makes sense, at 9:10 a.m. Pacific or noon 10 Eastern. Presumably that has to do with it airing in the UK. And then season 2 of Doctor Who will arrive on Disney Plus in 2025.
There you go. It's like Disney Plus TBS mashup thing going on there with those things.
Yeah, it's better than Turner Time. This is on the 10s, not the 5s.
The 10s. All right. As you just heard, we have gone through all the Disneyland 70th and the 2025 info. We were hoping to have our travel partner, Mouse Fan Travel, Heather, come join us, and it looks like she is ready. Can I bring you up, Heather? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I present to you. Anytime now. Heather, there we go. How you doing, Heather?
Good. How are you guys?
We are doing well. So before we get into the specific travel stuff, I'm sure you've been busy this morning digesting. What's your impression of 2025 at the Disneyland Resort?
I just speed read through everything so I could come on here, and I'm still a little bit in shock. It's very cool. I'm excited for the new World of Color. I'm excited for Paint the Night Parade to come back. I don't know, in typical Disney fashion, they made the announcement and then said, but don't worry, we're bringing you more stuff. And I just want to know what that more stuff is.
Before we get to, again, the travel offer, I'm just curious, because there are varying opinions on this. What is your opinion of the Walt animatronic show?
The new one that they just announced,
Mm-hmm.
That's the one I'm most excited about, actually.
Oh, okay.
I know that, like, look, we have great moments with Mr. Lincoln, and it's a little bit of history. I'm sure they'll bring that back at some point. That's not going to go anywhere. I'm just excited for them to do something to celebrate Walt in his park, right? I think we need to stop with the Pixar for a minute and the Avengers for a minute and just bring Walt back a little bit. So,
see, this is why when you use Mouse Fan Travel, they see Disney the way you see Disney. So, did they announce any new offers that our fans should be aware of?
They did, as in 30 seconds ago. So, forgive me, I'm looking on my other screen to make sure I get the dates right. But they have a brand new room discount that's available for the summer, for the celebration, only for the celebration. So, from May 16th through September 26th, you can save up to 30% at any of the Disneyland resort hotels. So we're talking Pixar Place, Disneyland Hotel, villas at Disneyland Hotel, and Grand Californian. Typically, if you stay at Pixar Place, you're going to get a smaller discount than those staying at the Grand Californian, who will get that full 30% discount.
Awesome. Is that the only one?
That's the only one that I'm seeing right now. I'm sure that they will probably release more in the days that come, but this is actually a really big one. Usually they don't do 30% at Disneyland. Like, that's one of the biggest discounts I've ever seen them do. And for them to be doing it this early, I think they expect it to be busy. So my professional recommendation would be to book your hotels now, get it locked in, get that special rate. And then if you need to make changes later, you can, but you don't want to be stuck, April 15th thinking you're going to go in July, because there's not going to be anything left.
So these do disappear. I mean, they'll make this announcement, but then they'll sell out of it basically. And
yeah, exactly. I do want to throw out a caveat. Your travel has to be completed by September 27th. So we can book at any point now through May 15th, but you have to finish on September 27th in order to get that discount. But it requires at least a 4-night stay. So you're coming in for the long weekend, you're coming in for a week. This isn't a shorter stay, so be prepared that in order to receive the discount, at least 4 nights.
Thank you. Since we've got you, I keep hearing stuff about cruise ship. Do you know anything about cruise ships going and how people might be able to book those?
Oh, you mean what I've been doing all week? There's a new Disney cruise ship that just released booking, the Disney Adventure, which is going to be their ship over in Asia. They just started booking yesterday for Monday for Pearl members. So that ship debuts this time next year, next December. So early booking is in effect for that. So if you want any of the Disney cruise ships, head over to Mousefan Travel. Any of our agents will help. But that Asia ship, I wasn't sure how. I mean, obviously Disney fans over in that part of the world were going to be excited about it. I wasn't sure how it was going to do here, and there's so many people are willing to fly to Asia for it.
I was wondering how that was doing. I'm so glad you were willing to let us know that it started off. People are booking it for sure.
They are booking it, and what's interesting is that this is not a cruise that's going to anywhere. It's going out to the middle of the ocean and coming back, and it's 3, 4, and 5 nights right now. They haven't released any dates past March of 26. So I don't know is this going to be a cruise ship that maybe goes around Japan at some point and you can do Tokyo Disneyland for a day? We don't know. Right now, it's just very short cruises out to the middle of nowhere. And I have guests from Singapore, from Australia, from all over the US that are like, we need pricing, get me there. We don't care, we want to go.
So even the 5 nights are just strictly days at sea, that's it?
In the middle of the ocean. Which I guess if you are a cruise fan, that's great, because now you get to experience this ship and just focus all of your attention only on the ship. But also if you're coming from America and you're making that huge flight. I just did that flight a couple months ago, and it's 11 hours from LA, so it's a long flight. So if it's a shorter cruise, you might want to think about adding on a land option before or after, whether in Singapore or elsewhere in Asia.
Okay, so that's the Disney Adventure, which Pearl can now book, you said. So
Pearl, Platinum, and today, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern in the U.S., Gold Castaway Club members can start booking.
And then as it goes, Silver, and then eventually everybody.
Monday or Tuesday of next week, general public will be able to book.
General public. And I think the Treasure and the Destiny, I'm guessing you're booking those too if people want to go.
Of course, everybody's excited for the Treasure. I think the Adventure is kind of getting the limelight today or this week, but those are the two that are going to be stateside, and everybody's excited about them.
Wonderful. So if you want to take a cruise, or if you want to go to Disneyland next year, or you want to do anything Disney related, Heather, once again, just tell us how people can find you.
Yeah, head over to mousefantravel.com. We have a request form on our website for any Disney destinations that are not Disney, and you'll be matched with one of our travel advisors. There's no fees, doesn't cost you anything, and we'll send you a quote, and then we can monitor for discounts, so you're always getting the best price. I think that's the nicest thing about working with a travel advisor. And how much do you charge for this wonderful service? $0. Wow, there's no reason not to do this. Right? It's a concierge service, completely free to you. You're going to be paying the same amount anyway, whether you book direct with Disney or you book with us. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Reach out and let us help you. For being such a no-brainer, it amazes me how many people apparently don't have a brain. Why would you not do this? But my husband didn't know for 2 years of us dating that using a travel advisor was no extra money. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong that you didn't know that?
I've updated my banner to an even better URL you can go to.
Yes.
Yeah, however you go, make sure you tell them it's on the form. Tell them that Laughing Place sent you. That's great for us. It's great for them to know. You can ask. I presume they can ask for you if they really want to.
They sure can. There's a drop-down menu where you can specify which agent you would like, or if there's a place on the form too. If you need an agent with a specific, specialty, you can designate that too. But you can request me. I'm Heather. But any of our agents are really great.
And Heather has been our agent for quite a while, so we are very happy to recommend her without hesitation. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Heather. I know you've got a lot of work to do right now, so thank you so much.
Things are crazy over here now, but if you want to go to Disneyland for the 70th, reach out to us. Let's get you booked now before those hotels sell out.
Great advice. Thank you. That's why you need a travel professional. Thanks, Heather.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
And the rest.
I forget we have bumpers. I don't leave space for them. You'd think I'd be used to this show by now.
That's fun. Okay. It's fun to cut you off like the breaking news one.
Let's get to and the rest. A little more Disney news here. And then, like I said, we've got Benji coming on a little bit. He's going to talk more about the 70th and Walt Disney in particular and some other stuff he's been writing about here lately. But first, let's get to Alexander. Okay, wait. I got to read this again. Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Road Trip, which is a show coming to Disney Plus. They just released, this is breaking news because this is a first look image from it. I forgot to do breaking news for this. It's been in development since 2020. It is a new adaptation of the book, Alexander the Terrible, Horrible, No Very Bad Day, coming March 28th, 2025, exclusively on Disney Plus. See it, because much like those Disneyland offers, you don't know how long it's going to last. So we'll check it out on Disney Plus. March 28th, 2025 starts. Ava Longoria, did I get that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So this is, it's not a remake.
I just agree without actually knowing.
No, I'm pretty sure I saw that. So this is not a remake of the previous film that was Disney released.
No, that was 10 years ago, by the way.
It is a different adaptation of the book, I presume.
That's completely different cast. You'll notice there is no Steve Carell, nor is there Jennifer Garner.
But is it the same universe? Will they make mention of, hey...
Don't know.
I don't know either.
The terrible, horrible, no good, very bad universe.
What's the acronym for that? Like MCU. Right.
No good.
All right. I hope my son's awake and watching. I know he's not, but if he was, he would be very excited about this next story.
Yeah, there's a new menu at the steakhouse at Disneyland Paris. And that's about all I know. Although I do want to point out, are you able to bring up the menu itself?
Sure. Let me just make sure my son
if
actually
people
is
were
awake.
upset about the new sign not proving Disney standards, I noticed this. This is the English menu version. That's probably why this happened. But if you can go to the let me see which section it is. There's a certain section that has a typo in it. Under the Chicago Steakhouse Premium Steaks, you'll notice that there's just a line with a price, and that's because the name of the item somehow fell under the other.
There it is.
Item. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Angus chuck flap is down here, and then you get nothing for €33.
Yeah.
190 grams of nothing in smoked pepper sauce. However, if you order the Angus ribeye, you actually get 2 dishes, so go for it.
There you go. So yes, I like I said, I'm not 100% sure what's new. I've never been to this location, but if you love steak, now there's a new location or an updated menu at the steakhouse at Disneyland Paris. And this isn't the one in Disney Village, not to be confused with the one in Frontierland. That's called the Silver Spur or something like that. Anyway, it's time for...
All right.
The same shirt as you are in that bumper.
I noticed that. Okay, so this is a portion of the show where we talk about the myriad of things going on around LP, because we cover everything Disney. And today is actually going to be a good example of that. A reminder that the Who's the Boss, episode 208, the return of Who's the Boss for Skeleton Crew, is now available. You can watch the recording that was done live yesterday, or you can watch Why isn't that embedded? Anyway, or you can get it on your podcast feed as soon as I fix that feed. So check that out. Mike Celestino had a special guest, Holly Frey, to talk about Skeleton Crew, and he will be doing that every week for the duration of the show. Also around LP, we have some insight into Moana 2. This is by Eric Goldman, as an article where the filmmakers talk about turning a TV show into a movie and the film's ending, which is interesting because one of the criticisms of this show has been this movie is that it feels like a TV show. So they are not hiding that fact here. You can go read that from Eric Goldman. Yesterday, I learned we have a writer on our team called Jeannie Yamanaka. I have no idea. Things happen. I have no idea. I founded the company. I'm a part owner of the company. But she is at an animation festival right now.
It happened a while ago. She's writing from the past, but yes.
The Animation is Film Festival 2024. She's writing about Ghost Cat Anzu. So if you are into, this looks like anime. Would you call this anime?
Yes.
You can go check out this pretty in-depth look at the movie here. And let us bring on our very own CEO to go around LP just a little bit more. Give me 1 second. And
he's going around.
So this is Benji Breitbart, the man behind everything you see here at LP. Without him, there is no laughing place. You think you like LP, that means you love Benjamin Breitbart.
Those falser words have never. That's what the falser words have never been spoken.
No, but he is the CEO. He does make a lot of the magic here, and he's also a pretty nice guy and my best friend, as it turns out. Okay, so let's start with Walt.
Wait, can we just skip before we? Can we? I mean, talk about people who got. Can we give Kyle some credit here as well as Luke for getting
and Tony
all that
as well? Also helped.
Up.
I did the least of the three.
Okay, but you coordinated it. I didn't. I just said, Kyle, take care of this, and it happened. So
and it happened. 17 articles, you said, Kyle?
Yeah, and 2 more in the works. We'll have a post on the offer, and then we'll have a roundup of everything that they just announced. We'll have an 18th post about the first 17.
which is hard, and and like you said, within 2 minutes you made that happen. That's just crazy. Way to go, Kyle. Thank you very much. Okay, so I want to talk to you about let's talk to you about your non-Disneyland 70th stuff first, and then we'll get to that. So you wrote an article. You do a lot of the think pieces. You know this. I know you hate to. You're not going to take this well. I literally know no one, and I would not be surprised if there is no one who understands the company as a whole, at least outside of Disney, as well as Benji Breitbart does. And sometimes you'll take a step back and write a think piece on something, and they're always interesting. So if you see Benji's name, he doesn't do anything else, almost. Maybe a trip report every now and then. So if you see Benji's name on an article, it is worth your time to read. So let's start with that.
Somehow I've gone from I nothing happens at LP without my involvement to I just do think pieces.
When I said you don't do anything else, you don't have any other bylines.
Okay.
Is what I meant to say, other than you do trip reports because you did go around the world and things like that. Okay, so what was the purpose of this ESPN think piece that you did?
Well, so, Doobie and I and Rebecca and Gideon went on this ESPN experiences trip where we went to Bristol, and we had a lot of access to some ESPN executives. And the one thing that if you read media, ESPN is struggling, ESPN is shrinking, and that's not untrue. But I was impressed as I talked to them about all the things that they're trying and new avenues. I mean, it's one thing to do it when you're growing and every week there's a new ESPN network, and but now when you're to really keep that spirit of innovation while you are trying to be more efficient is I think admirable. And you see things, and now that ESPN's on Disney Plus with things like the Simpsons football game, the Disney basketball game, I think it's hard to it's hard to remember that ESPN innovated a lot of things, and before that, ABC Sports that we take for granted. The 1st and 10 line came from ESPN, instant replay, slow mo, and now I've been embedded a tweet of one of the NFL Live analysts using this virtual reality headset or augmented reality or whatever you want to call it on NFL Live to really diagram a play, and it came from one of the Disney accelerator companies. And you look at, and it really helps you understand the play in a way that, sort of like a modern telestrator, but it adds so much depth. You go into different people's perspectives and see how they see the field. And so I think the company that's based off innovation, you're seeing some leakage from the Disney spirit of innovation into the ESPN spirit of innovation. And I think it needed to be called out.
Did they do the Glow Puck, or was that a different network?
That was Fox.
Okay. Darn.
Cool. You also yesterday were on a podcast, which I like the way they did the thumbnail for their podcast, the DCL Duo, where you talked about the Disney Treasure with them, right?
I did. I feel like my branding is very strong on that. But Disney Treasure preview with Benji from Laughing Place. That's really cool. Thanks for the that much attention.
So I did get to watch about half of it. Really good. Benji represents well. That's what I was thinking the whole time. Very interesting discussion of the Disney Treasure, which you have been on briefly and then are actually sailing on very soon, right?
Yep, sailing on Monday. Follow along, like, subscribe, all that. Become a member.
All right, and then finally, you wrote another think piece. This time about Walt Disney, the audio animatronic, an honor or heresy. So, what prompted this, and what are your thoughts?
Like, I gotta give credit to Kyle for the title. I'm bad at titles. I would be like, my thoughts on Walt Disney, the audio animatronic. So Kyle does a much better job with my titles than I could ever do. But it was Walt's birthday. Now I will say I prepped this before I knew that they were going to announce the opening day of this. Completely coincidental. But Joanna Miller, Walt Disney's granddaughter, has been online really advocating against this happening, as is her right, as anybody. But as I looked at her thinking, it didn't really make sense to me as an outsider. Whereas they talked about how Walt would feel, her feeling is that that Walt would be disrespected by being created as an audio animatronic. And I felt like that doesn't mesh up with what I knew about Walt. Walt created Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln as a way to honor his childhood hero and many people's heroes. Obviously, Lincoln is one of the greatest Americans who ever lived. So, I don't think he viewed it as any sort of sacrilege. And I agree. It's not the same as having real Walt, and you're never going to capture the true magic of Walt, but that's not a possibility. And so, as a way to pay tribute to him, I felt it made sense. And then I think as I've talked to Imagineers, those that were even previously against it felt that now enough time had passed, where they didn't grow up. The current generation didn't grow up with Walt. I didn't grow up with Walt. Walt was long gone, but before I was born, 20 years before I was born. So, you if you want to keep his spirit alive, you got to find innovative ways to do it. And I think it's an audio animatronic is going to draw more than just a film presentation or anything like that. And then I think it's perhaps the biggest point here is that it doesn't make any sense, business sense, at the purest sense of the world, for Disney to do this, right? No one is going to be booking their Disneyland trip to go see a Walt audio animatronic show. It's not, you're not going to have advertising.
Regular fans who have.
Sure, but the regular fans are going to be, probably have Magic Key anyway. They're going to Disney. You're not drawing. It's not like, opening Indiana Jones Adventure and people are excited, or Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. It's not going to do any of those things.
It's not going to penetrate the mainstream.
Right, and you're not going to suddenly have like Walt. I mean, Walt on a big T-shirt and stuff like that. I mean, not more than they already do. So, I think it's a way for Disney to really make a big investment in showing that Walt Disney is core to everything. A lot of fans complain, and I think rightfully so, that Walt can be removed from things. It's not the Walt Disney Studios, in front of the Walt Disney Pictures anymore. It just says Disney. And I think this may be a turning point where they really show appreciation for Walt. And I think we've seen what happens when they don't. And I think it's a good sign that they wanted to invest in this way. And yes, I agree with Joanna Miller that if you want to get to know Walt, a much better way is to go to the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco but that's a bigger reach, right? I mean, first of all, it's in the Presidio, which isn't exactly downtown, and then you're not at Disneyland where you're surrounded by it. More people will be exposed to Walt who wouldn't be exposed to him otherwise, and I think it will inspire kids who are going to Disneyland and get to know Walt through something like this to go to the museum someday, become bigger Walt Disney fans, not just Disney fans, Walt Disney fans, and I think it's a good call. I mean, I don't know Walt's wishes, but I also know Walt. It's hard to know what Walt would truly want, even especially given the fact that 80 years has passed, and who knows what he would think. And I don't know. That's a very dangerous slide to go through. Now, yes, it needs to be done well and respectful, and use his own words. And we've seen when Disney tries to kind of force Walt into things where they really need to put some work into it. But I'm gonna, based on what I'm hearing, I'm gonna have some faith that they are. I could be proven wrong, but as long as it's done well, respectfully, and with an appropriate amount of energy, I don't see the downside.
I'm gonna change your headline to "Stop Gatekeeping Walt." No, not really. But as you mentioned, that show we did get an opening date for that. That's going to open on May 16th of next year with the 70th anniversary of Disneyland celebration. So do you want me to just recap everything? Do you have what jumps out to you of everything that was announced today?
Well, I think some of the stuff, there's a couple of things in there that I think that necessarily might not have jumped out as much as like the calendar. For example, we got a closing date for the Red Car Trolley.
Right. And you know what the significance of the closing date is?
Anniversary date of Disney California Adventure. I was there. I opened that park.
Were you roasting coffee at that time or doing something else?
No, I was on the opening day. I was roasting coffee. Actually, I'm trying to I don't think I actually ended up working. So I think what happened was I was scheduled. I went to the park to play. I was playing. Back at that time, they could only reach you at a local number. Like the schedulers didn't have long distance rights. So I had a cell phone from Northern California, and so they couldn't call me. And so I happened to walk into my location, and they said, "Oh, we've been trying to call you. The park is so slow. We don't need you to come in." And I was like, "Okay."
I thought you were going to say it was busy and they needed to call you. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. This version jives much more with what I expected.
So yeah, I was there opening day. I don't think I technically worked, but I worked plenty leading up to it.
That's fine. But anything about the 70th itself? What do you think of the World of Color and these returning parades?
The World of Color, we'll see what it is. They've gone through different iterations of World of Color, some better than others. I don't want to discourage people from going, and I especially use my fan travel, but this really feels like the least they could do. The only thing that's new besides Walt and decor and bunting is the World of Color show, or being the Wondrous Journey show, which is specifically not about Disneyland. It's about a celebration of Walt Disney Animation Studios. You have Paint the Night, which they're bringing back out, and I love to see them. But to bring that out again, Better Together, which was debuted last year. There just doesn't seem to be a lot of there, and so I think yes, in the 75th will be a much bigger deal, and it should be. And you have to be careful with these when you spend over a year celebrating something, and then you do it every 5 years, and then you throw in things like Disney 100. You're constantly celebrating something, and that means nothing. You can't not. So, I'm not against them having smaller scale stuff in sort of the non-25 increment things. I mean, I think that's fair, but I do wish. There's a lot of special events happening at Disneyland, but there's not a lot of actual newness at Disneyland next year. And I don't blame Disneyland. I mean, we're still sort of paying back COVID, it's planning that froze during that era. So, this is a way to kind of get us through this year. And then then we'll start to see things actually come online with new experiences. Red Car Trolley closing, but to build new experiences. So we'll start to actually see, once you see shovels in the ground for the future, I think that's a much more exciting moment.
Are you excited for the return of 90s night? You were at the first one, right?
I was not at the first one. I couldn't go. I think Mike and Alex went, or
I know Mike covers all of them. I wasn't sure if you were there as well. Sometimes you are, sometimes you aren't.
Yeah, no, I'm not a huge. I should say I really like Sweethearts Night. I think yeah, and I think that one is a nice way to kind of celebrate with somebody special, and it makes it feel special. I always find it. I always want to go through the single rider line to see how that feels like on Sweethearts Night, but you know, and I've done some of the other ones have like they're not doing it this one this year, but the Princess Night was kind of lame.
The
Star Wars Night
was that class reunion or whatever it was, or like
I don't think
grad
anyone
night
went to that
reunion.
The grad night for everybody. So you know, some of them they're very Instagrammy. I don't get many pictures taken of myself because you know, look at me. But it's fun when you can celebrate with somebody special, and you know, it's you get into the park. You know, quite frankly, in the parks, everyone's so focused on photo ops that you know you can actually get on some decent attractions, but they're fun. They're not harmful. So I'm not against them. I just don't enjoy them as much as the pricing would probably demand.
Yeah.
With the exception, I really do like Sweethearts Night.
Something I should mention that I didn't mention earlier about those events is that tickets will be going on sale relatively soon for two of them, for Sweethearts Night and for 90s Night. Inspire Magic Key holders, there's going to be a limited pre-sale starting December 10th at no earlier than 9 a.m. All Magic Key holders will get a chance on December 11th, and then the general public on sale will be December 12th. So that's coming up very quickly.
I would like to point out that it's contractually mandated that tickets for Disneyland hard ticket events go on sale during press events.
Yeah, and no earlier than 9 a.m. That's
no earlier than that. Yeah, they want to make sure I cannot actually buy a ticket.
Hi, Doobie. You're on mute. I don't know if that's intentional still.
It's not intentional. Still being distracted here. I notified Tony. We've got one more thing. Tony's going to be joining us. But he is finishing up a post, so we're going to give him a couple minutes for that.
No problem. We can keep talking about recapping the news. Let me just go through a lay of the land real quick of everything that they announced. So we talked about how the 70th anniversary will kick off on, was it May 16th? Yep.
Yes.
I'm double checking because I don't want to say something wrong. And of course, I have so many notes in so many different places. So yeah, May 16th for 70th anniversary. And that's also the day that the new attraction Walt Disney and Magical Life will open. New World of Color will debut. Paint the Night and Better Together will return. Wondrous Journeys will return. The Red Car Trolley will be closing February 8th, meaning that's the last day to ride it. And then they announced return dates for a number of festivals and other offerings: Lunar New Year, Anaheim Ducks Day, Celebrate Gospel, Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival, Seasons of the Force, Disney Junior Let's Play Party, Halloween Time, including Oogie Boogie Bash, which will actually start before Halloween time, and holidays at the Disneyland Resort, plus the Disneyland After Dark events that we were just discussing. So tons of news. You can find it all on Laughing Place. We have a banner that'll get you to the tag. You can see everything there. But yeah, tons of information from them this morning.
I'm so ready to see this Walt thing.
We haven't even gotten I kind of thought we got the exact same concept art. No new concept art, no I guess they probably don't want to do the same type of animatronic in skinned that they would normally do for these types of things. Or might be willing to do for these types of things.
Do we know, this is using all Walt audio, right?
Yes.
No Royal Dano doing Walt's voice, I believe.
It's actually Hutch Dana from Zeke and Luther. Deep cut there for you.
Yeah.
Welcome, Dana.
I'm so excited to see that first footage of the animatronic. Do you think they will release some footage, or it'll just wait for it to open and?
They can't help
I think they will release footage because they want to control that first impression. And they should.
But I think it's going to be like, it's not going to be from the warehouse. It's going to be in context is
exactly.
my guess.
And like, I think it'll be days before, not like months before.
How much pressure is on Disney to get this right?
See, I mean, this is what I worry about. Like, if we over criticize something like this, it's just going to encourage not this. Now, they should do it well. They should put attention to it. And, if you're going to do it right. But I imagine, I talked to, when I was on the Treasure, and I was in Haunted Mansion Parlor, which was just so impressive. And you're talking to the Imagineers, and like, sometimes on projects, Imagineers just put a little bit, they want to do it so bad, they just put a little bit of extra oomph in it. That's not necessarily, what they're supposed to be doing. And I hope, and I have the feeling just from, and I could, once again, could be wrong, but I hope that this is one of those projects where they really try and do it right and do what they need to do it right. And not because I want them to feel pressure, but because not from external sources, but if you're an Imagineer, odds are the sky's important to you. And, they're going to feel pressure. This isn't, no disrespect to a carriage house that sells Haunted Mansion merchandise, but this is not that.
Not a barn.
I think you can disrespect a carriage house merch location. I think it's okay. Do you think Abigail will
I saw someone tweeted, like, I don't think they put the A-list Imagineers on this. And I'm like, I hope not. I mean, no, this is like, the people work on this may become the A-list Imagineers, but I hope they're working on like rides and stuff.
Okay, so I'm going to call an audible here in the spirit of not having this show go on forever. Say goodbye to Benji, and let's do football picks, and then we'll bring Tony on later when he's ready.
Good
audible football picks. How about that? I'm going to call a double audible. Cancel that audible. Tony's ready. Let's bring him on.
He's not quite. I don't see him yet.
There he is. Are you ready, Tony? All right. Bye-bye, Benji. Hello, Tony.
Hello.
How you doing, Tony?
I'm good. I saw that movie once a long time ago, I thought.
What movie would this be?
Bye-bye, Birdie.
Bye-bye, Benji. All right, this is Tony Betti. He is.
Hi, guys.
What is your official title here at Laughing Place?
Last in line for the good stuff.
Wow. You've been to Pixar. I haven't. Well, I guess I have. But not like you.
I was like, yeah, you have.
Not like you. Tony Betti is well known for covering animation here at Laughing Place and for doing shows with minimal lighting. So we are bringing you on here to talk about primarily CTN. Okay, if you can rectify that.
Hey, Google, turn the lights on. 50%. That's not what I said. Oh, it only did my show lighting. Whatever. Moving on. Now we have this little fire-looking thing.
The oven's gonna cook the turkey too well in a second, so let's get on with it.
All right. Before we get to CTNX and starting with you saying what that stands for, you did something yesterday for Stugo. What is this?
Stugo. It's the new Disney television animated series. We don't know a lot about it other than it's a mad scientist who tricked kids onto an island thinking it's a summer camp. So I'm very excited to see where it goes. A lot of the DTVA shows now have kind of an Adult Swim in disguise feel to them, Kif being the most primary example I can think of. And Stugo, to me, very much has that same kind of vibe. I'll be very interested to see how it goes, but it just looks just wacky and fun. So I'm excited. January 11th.
Tony, throwing out the acronyms, DTVA?
Disney TV Animation.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I said DTV. I said Disney TV Animation, then I said DTVA. My apologies.
So you didn't say Disney Channel, also known as, and then, but that's okay. Okay, the primary reason I brought you on was to talk about CTNX 2024. First of all, tell us what that is.
So CTNX is the Creative Talent Network Expo. CTNX 2024 being this year. So it took place this year. Last year was CTNX 2023 because last year was 2023 parentheses.
It should not be this
No,
funny.
Well, actually, Tony, they just schedule changed. Now the expo is going to start in 2025.
So that's
it's actually,
very funny that Kyle says that, and I'll explain this. CTNX is a great event. It really puts the emphasis on the network part, because you get to meet pros, and it's great for students, it's great for professionals, it's great for enthusiasts. You really get to really get into the weeds with the art form. The first year I went, which was 3 years ago, there was a heavy studio presence that has since waned, and a lot of people, especially at that event, kind of blame Lightbox for that, because there's a shift happening. But that said, as the event kind of becomes less of that, it becomes more of a chance to like learn about stuff you might not have known about. Like we did a screening of 1x1, which happened to be, as far as I know, they introduced it as the first public screening. And I didn't call them out publicly, but it was actually, as far as I could tell, the second public screening of 1x1, an abandoned segment from a third iteration of Fantasia that was only ever released on the Lion King 2 Simba's Pride home physical media editions as a bonus feature. So that was really cool to see that on a big screen and with a crowd.
Wonderful. I see I'm just looking at your articles here. You actually did an article talking about famed Disney legend? I'm not sure. Andreas Deja?
Oh, yeah, he's a Disney legend.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to verify that a few times, because it was he legendary Disney animator or Disney legend?
Disney legend. First, real quick, who was Andreas Deja? And what
Andreas Deja formed most of your childhood. Well, maybe not yours, Doobie, but definitely Kyle's and I's.
Wow, that was painful. True, but painful.
And it's part of the center of the expo. They have a traditional Kem Weber animation desk. Kem Weber's the guy who designed it. We'll call him KW, parentheses. It was a KW desk. And he sat there and he did the 2D with the flipping and everything like that. There we go. And as he kind of sat there, he was like, who should I draw? And the crowd was kind of silent. And I'm like, oh my God, I want him to draw original Yzma from Kingdom of the Sun before it became Emperor's New Groove. But that was kind of a deep cut. But somebody said Roger Rabbit, and he went on for about 25 minutes about Roger Rabbit. Most of that video is actually on our YouTube channel, because I did film what I could, despite the glaring audio problems, because at first he wasn't mic'd, and then they brought him a Mr. Microphone, and then they actually wired him into the sound and the thing. So to show you an idea of how small and intimate that event is, there you go. But it was really cool. And the whole time he's regaling us with production stories, which make this video very interesting to watch. So if you haven't watched it yet, definitely go check it out.
Did Mushu pop in to see how it was done?
No. That's funny that you say that, because Tony Bancroft and Tom Bancroft, who worked on Mulan and Mushu and appear in that show, have been there the last 2 years, but they were not there this year. So interesting. But so that was cool. And he also went through like his whole filmography, because he did Gaston in Beauty and the Beast, King Triton in Little Mermaid, a supervising animator for these, I should say. Scar in The Lion King, and Jafar in Aladdin. I know in years past he's done Runaway Brain Mickey at that desk. He did not do it this time around, because he did run out of time, because he was just telling so many stories. Afterward, I did have a chance to sit with him and ask him about the Lion King attraction coming to Paris and what he thought of it, because it was widely publicized that he had seen it already. And he said, I can't talk about it, but I liked it, and walked away. So.
Okay. Social reaction from Andreas Deja.
Yep.
Awesome. Anything else you want to mention on CTNX, or just any other stuff you've been working on around here?
So in terms of CTN, if devotees may recall, I wrote about a book called Disney In Between from Steve Anderson. And I was able to meet him at CTNX after our long talk in person. And I got that. Hold on. I bought this because it's an independent book, right? So, and I thought that was nice. But in turn, he's pimping me out. So expect a feature on this book from his friend Ken Bruce, about the Enchanted Tiki Room. So stay tuned to that.
Is that the most appropriate featured forward ever?
Brad Bird, yeah. It even says,
hold on. Room book? Yeah.
So let me read the last line of the forward, actually, and we'll talk about it. but I still believed he asked me to write this forward solely because of my last name.
Hold on,
And he's right.
That's cool.
So yeah.
Did it say P.S. Sorry about Tomorrowland?
No. But Andrew Stanton's book mentions John Carter, so.
Oh,
that's not true. I don't know if Andrew Stanton even has a book.
Oh, jeez. I thought that was so cool. He just had a birthday. We did, we wrote a limerick about him.
Can you pull up the World of Color art real fast? I want to point something out.
Yeah,
Hold on.
I don't want to go on a rant here.
That's fair.
Start talking.
So if you look there's basically the gist of what we got is that World of Color, the new one, celebrating all things happiness, but it also says it's hosted by joy and the other emotions and their interpretation of happiness. So I'm a little worried about what sadness brings, but I am very excited because if all the World of Color art has taught us before, each thing featured in it will be featured in the show, right? Look closely in the top left quadrant and you've got Four Town and Powerline. So I highly anticipate a major concert on water screens. Yes, for sure.
So what you're saying is one of the things you're working on today is a dissection of this concept art and what you see coming for World of Color.
Because concept art is very trustworthy.
Yes.
You should definitely put all of your stock into it.
No, but it still makes for a good read.
And if you want the cynical perspective, which I'm most known for, I am a little concerned because as we've seen with the 70th stuff so far, a lot of it's let's bring something back. That Wish segment, as you see Star right there kind of in the middle, is probably going to be the Wish segment we saw already as the pre-show. So,
and paying homage to past nighttime spectaculars on different coasts, Ennui was me watching the middle of Illuminations to Reflections of Earth.
Oh.
Wow.
But yeah, CTN's a great event. It allows you to just sit and chat with folks too and learn a lot about mostly traditional animation. But
is it true that we send you to this every year in hopes that this networking would pay off and you're no longer on our payroll?
I think that's kind of the underlying goal. This year might have proved better than others, but instead it ended up being right about my book too. So
it's still a win-win.
Yeah. Oh, I will add, going back to the Andreas Deja conversation, after he learned who I was, it was a real meltdown moment. Yeah, because somebody introduced me to him and said, "This is Tony from Laughing Place." And he turned, he goes, "Oh, I know you. You wrote about Mushka. Thank you so much." And that was last year. So the fact that Andreas Deja, who I've deeply respected my whole life, said he knew who I was, that was a little trippy.
That makes wow. That is a great story. I would walk around with a T-shirt that said, Andreas Deja, I know you.
Well, hopefully you walk around with a T-shirt in public anyway, or some kind of covering.
And thank you, Tony, for covering yourself for today's show.
It's true. And you know what's funny about it? I had no idea what was going on today, but I happened to be wearing my 60th anniversary shirt.
Oh, appropriate. Appropriate.
So we're
Thanks, Tony, Betti.
10-year anniversary of that sweatshirt.
Or as Benji keeps calling this one the 50th. So he's...
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Tony.
Talk football, so your interest is lost.
All right, so I spent far too long catching up on the past 3 weeks yesterday, and the bottom line is I'm catching up. Despite your perfect week last week, I am catching up. I am now 89-56. You are 95-50. So I think that makes you 6 games ahead, or 12, or 3, something like that. I'm not really sure. But you have 6 more wins than I do. You had a perfect week last week, but I won. I only lost 2. The prior week, I did 3 games better than you, and the week before that, I did 1 game better than you. So let's get to week 14 and make some picks as Doobie is making his comeback. And that's not it. All right. We've got the Packers at the Lions. I think we're both going Lions there. We're thinking about it.
Let's go Lions.
The Trevor Lawrence-less Jaguars at the Titans.
It hurts to take the Titans, but I'm going to take the Titans.
All right. This is one where I'm going to catch up on you. The Jets at the Dolphins. Will they bench Aaron Rodgers?
Dolphins.
Yeah.
Although it is December, so that's a dangerous bet, but we'll see.
The Falcons at the Vikings.
I'll take the Vikes.
And I'm going to catch up with. No, I'm going to be smart. All right, the Saints at the Giants.
I said Saints.
Yeah, me too. Panthers at Eagles.
Eagles.
Okay, yeah, right. Browns at the Steelers.
I'm still gonna take the Steelers, even though they lost last time, right?
Jameis Winston is someone worth betting on.
Yeah, cause
he set a record last week for passing yardage in a game if you include the yards to the other team. It's never been done before. 617 yards, I believe it was. Raiders and Buccaneers.
Bucks.
I said the Bucks.
Double pirate game.
The Bucks. Although the Bucks, Baker Mayfield, do you know if he's okay? I know he got hurt in the last game.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna assume he's okay. Seahawks at Cardinals.
I forget what I picked, honestly. I guess I'll go with the Seahawks since last time it actually worked out for me.
I'm going Cardinals, another catch-up game. Bills at Rams. Yeah, Bills, we know.
Yeah.
Bears at 49ers.
I'm going to take the Bears, actually.
All right, I'm going to take the 49ers. It can't be that bad. Chargers at Chiefs.
I'm going to choose the Chiefs, but I would not be surprised if the Chargers won.
And I am going Chargers. The Chiefs cannot keep skating by like this, barely beating the Raiders. And finally, the Bengals at my Dallas Cowboys.
The hardest.
This is the Simpsons game, right?
This is the Simpsons game. Just to make it interesting, I'll take the Bengals then. I don't remember what I did in our actual pool, but I'll take the Bengals.
This is a game that would have been flexed out if not for all the work making it the Simpsons game, because these are two bad teams.
Hey, I mean, it worked out for them last Monday night. People were like, why aren't you flexing this game? And then it was awesome.
And this will be awesome because it's The Simpsons. All right, thanks for joining us today. It's been a long show. Oh, this day in Disney history. Walt Disney was born. Yay. It's been quite a show.
What year?
1901.
Good job.
If not for cigarettes, he would be 123 years old today. So don't smoke, friends. Thanks for joining us. If you missed any of the 70th stuff, you can hit rewind. You can watch this later. And obviously, you can read any of the 17, soon to be 19 articles on our website on the 70th at Disneyland and 2025 at the Disneyland Resort. We will be back tomorrow at our normal time, 9:30 a.m. Thank you again, and bye-bye.
It's the same time, but later.